Hello again, this is Bill St. George. Welcome to another impression show here at the Walpole Cable Television Studio in downtown Walpole, lovely little town. And let's see, we started out, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words here. Which is usually, that's really not the usual case, but I'm just trying to think of what the heck. Oh yeah, we did show number 1. That's what I did, and I left the show without saying, keep painting. So Bob reminded me, he threw something at me, and so I'll say it at the top of the show, and then if you see something flying by, it'll be because I have to say it for the ending too. That's Bob's line, you know, and he's got it copyrighted, and nobody can use it. Anyway. Okay, we'll get going with the show again and have some fun pushing the paint around. Had to adjust the canvas a little bit. In fact, I do that in the sun. You know, if you get too much of a glare, you can pull it forward and almost, you know, you get to the point where I'm painting on your knees. You know, thing is down like this. But it does take that glare off the surface. So hopefully this will look a little better. I've during the break, I should say, I pulled some of the color out, scraped some back, and I think just by looking at this, I can put some more greens and leaves in here. It looks a little washed out, so let me try that, okay? And we'll take it from there. In these areas, the thin areas, I want to use some liquid, a little more than usual. So, and I'm mixing with this green a transparent earth orange, it's called. So if you are looking for a new color or looking for some new things to work with, these transparent paints are really good, and they don't overtake the, you know, they don't overpower, I should say, the color or the painting. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna again try working at as fast a speed as I can to keep from getting bogged down with minutia. That's a little too gray. But maybe we can use it. I don't know. I kind of like this yellow underneath. I do and I don't. I just want to get this thing away from looking as if it's floating. And right now it looks a little bit like it's floating. So I don't know. I might use the elements of that yellow and just see what I can do to anchor the painting a little more. Let me see by. That's too much like the other color. I'll think of something off. Try a little that Winton. And the Winton green and cadmium red. Just to kind of bolt it down, see what's going on. See how that works. Again, as I said in the first show, we're going from general, which is broad, wide, whatever, to more specific. And now I'm starting to get a little more specific and working towards refining the painting a little more. Now, I can pull some of this out to get some of that yellow back. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I had a very limited light source. The light was coming here and the shadows were in the back. So it doesn't have a real solid, you know, shadow light, halftone. So I'm going to have to invent a lot of that. But I think what this needs here on the bottom is some kind of a base, and it's gonna help just to put that in. I'm gonna kind of wrap this around like this. There we go. Now if I pull that yellow out, let's see what happens. Use that Winton green again. We'll see. All right. Now I can pull some of that yellow out and we'll see what happens, all right? To put paint down just for the sake of putting it down is, you know, an exercise in futility. You know, I mean, just if you can't figure out what you're going to do next in a given area, like I'm having a little bit of concern in this area, then move over to another area, and then let this work on your, kind of work vicariously. You know, so you're not thinking about it directly, but you're kind of registering while you're working in another area. So I'm going to leave this alone for a minute, and I'm going to go up and kind of, it's the same principle that's involved if you're like, I'm in a studio painting, and I'm my own studio. You know, I have a studio down in Boylston Street near the Colonial Theater. I have a big space, and I got paintings all over the walls. And I'll have a couple of unfinished paintings that are on the floor. And while I'm working on this painting, you know, you kind of glance at the other. It's almost the same principle. The answer to a problem comes to you when you're not looking directly at it. So by going up into this area, this will reveal itself more to me, because what I'd be doing here is focusing on that area too much, to the detriment of all the rest of the painting. So anyway, let's see how that works. So I'm going to go up into the top area, and we're going to see what we can resolve. This is just a little gray. I tell you, these lights really, you can't get away with too much. They show everything. Even the slightest bit of color in a white will jump out like a, yeah, okay. I'm not going to use any of the liquid. I'm going to hit this white, just kind of draw with this. Again, get those tops of the tulips put in. I have people, you know, students, whatever, will say, you know, talk about, I can't paint people, or I can't paint flowers, or, you know, there's no separation in any of them. I mean, you paint people the same way as you paint a landscape or you paint anything else. It's a series of values, a series, you know, it's drawing, it's everything. I think once you get into, well, let's take a portrait, all right? You're into trying to make the person look as close to what that person looks like. But if you just think about painting, and it's not a commission, well, who cares whether the person looks exactly the same? It's all in the painting. I feel that's more important. You know, getting the spirit of the subject rather than going for a likeness. Easy to say when you're when you're doing a commission, and that's all you're doing is worrying about whether the patron's going to freak out over whether it looks like the person or not. So, but I mean, it's the same principle is involved regardless of the subject matter. So I just kind of treat everything the same way. Okay, I'm going to put some Viridian in here, and I'm going to add a little bit more of the earth orange. And then I got this shape in here. I'm going to anchor it a little bit more right there. Maybe bring it over here just a little bit. Now, let's see. I'll start breaking this up into little smaller increments, smaller. Actually, I've got to I've got to spread this out for another show. So I don't want to go too fast. But I do want to pick up some of the shapes in the leaves. They're quite nice. Add a little variety to the painting. So I'm going to use less liquid. In fact, I'm not going to use any. I'm going to just get a load of paint and we'll get some texture in there. This Viridian and yellow, I'm going to add a little bit of cerulean blue, which softens it a bit. I'll go, instead of the cadmium yellow medium, I'll go to cadmium yellow light. And we'll see what happens. I teach a class in my gallery on Newbury Street. We have a class every Tuesday morning. I usually run it for 6 weeks. The reason I'm mentioning this is that I find that teaching really helps reinforce what I already know, and also through the students points out some things for me. I find out, what works and what doesn't work. A lot of times by watching what the student, how they solve a problem. So teaching is good. And again, we have the student that'll want to, I've had in the past, I've had students their only concern was how quick they're going to sell a painting. After 2 lessons, can I get into a gallery? I said, well, I don't think so. Maybe 3. But anyway, forget about that stuff. That's not important. At least not for quite a while. All right, let's see, I'll take a little bit of this red and bring that into there. And maybe even carrying it down to here. Picking up some of the color that's in there and bringing it around. Certainly not going to hurt the composition. And then maybe take this red and just, we'll see, just have some fun and run it around. See what happens, I don't know, take a chance. Get a real white here and kind of run it through. Let's pick that up. I'll get some yellow. And we'll run it on top up here. Let's get a little bit of add a little bit of white to that. Let's see. Maybe carry that over here, pick up a little. Think of each flower as a shape, and an interesting shape in and of itself, and not just something that's drawn, ooh, it looks like a flower. It has to have characteristics in it that give it life, and that also makes an interesting shape. I mean, like here, I brought out some of the paint to get back into that light area, to bring the light back out. And here, there's, like in this green, I can pull some of that orange out, just a touch of it. Now that orange is in the underpainting. Rather than paint it in, pull it back out, all right? Let's see. All right, I want to get a little more of this violet color here. The alizarin crimson and cerulean blue. And push that in there, right in here. And make sure it's a little thicker than I had before. Now, I'm just wondering if, I don't know how this looks on camera, but hopefully it's okay. Thinking about maybe putting a dark down in that area. Maybe something on that side. I don't know, but for now, we'll just leave it. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll run that shadow down the left-hand side, down on here. See what happens. You know. Maybe pull out the shape, even if it's just a bit of it. You know. Doesn't have to be the complete, you know, outline type of thing, but just something that enhances the overall look and brings that shape of the vase back in. Don't worry about the details. Got a pink here I haven't even been using, so I think I'm going to throw some of that in. Funny how sometimes you just go to certain color. Maybe it's just because I'm working up in this area, in this range, that I haven't used any of these colors. But I think I might throw because it might look nice, that's all. See what happens. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe take a little bit of it, throw it up in here. That's got a little too much blue. Throw a little pink and some Naples yellow. And then let's see what happens if I throw some yellow into that. That gives it a little different energy. Maybe bring this this green back in up here. Really strong. I don't know why, but just to see what happens, that's all. It's in this area, it's in this range, so why not, you know? And maybe use a little bit of the, it's got too much. Now it looks too much like the leaves are growing right through, especially with that color. Okay. I'll leave that for now. Let's see. I want to pick out, get this to look less like a cluster. So I'm going to throw some of that background color in up here, that purple. And that goes pretty nicely against the red. Again, paint it in, and then I can possibly pull it back out at a later time. Right in there. That's driving me nuts up there. So I'm gonna run some purple into there, and then it's not gonna work. I have to pull that color right out. You know, it's too nothing is what it is. It's just nothing happening. I like this tone here. This worked fine, but anything to the left of it had a little too much yellow in it, and that is not working. So I'm going to pull that back out, and then maybe go over there with that aqua color. Who knows? Or maybe just leave it. I don't know. We'll see. This is a little hard right here. There was a Degas used to, he'd sell a painting, and then a lot of times, and I have the same feeling too, once in a while, if I go into somebody's home and they have one of my paintings, an earlier painting, you know, you want to take it off the wall and start fixing it up. And he used to do that. He'd grab it right off the wall and take it back to his studio and work on it some more. You know, he was notorious for that. Let's see, I kind of like that yellow. I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave that in there. And it picks up this yellow here and then goes back around here. So it has that kind of circular quality. Instead of a mass in here, I'm going to break this up, you know, for these leaves. Well, I hope you're getting something out of this, because it's a lot of fun. And I hope I can convey that feeling somewhat to the viewers. Okay. All right, now go back up into this area up here and pick up some more, just a little more of the yellow, a little bit of that yellow here. What else we got? Okay. Anytime you have a static line like that, which I do, I try to break it up with something, either color or maybe just, you know, just my fingers to break it, just to get that deadness out of it, out of the solid line. Let's see. I think I'm going to push that green, and this will pull up the shape a little more. Let's try that. Might be that white in there that's throwing everything off too. I'm not sure. In that area. Okay. I think I have an idea what I'm going to do in here. And that's to throw some kind of a cast shadow, you know, right to the left of that, just to give it some volume. I think I didn't have quite enough in you know, in that area. Just a little too. A little too thin. Yeah, we'll see. Might pull the whole thing out again. I don't know. We'll see. Boy, this easel's hadn't seen better days. Okay. I'll pull the shape of this one out a little bit here. All right. Okay. Let's see. I still have to get this anchored on the left, but I don't know if I have to go quite to the extreme I've gone so far. I don't know. That might do it. I don't know. That might do it. I don't know. Yeah, I'll start picking out some of the detail again. Let's get that nice stark contrast here. And this can be this element here from the original underpainting can be part of the painting itself. It almost looks as if it could be a flower. Why not leave it? You know, the shape seems to work. So we'll just leave it. All right, I'm going to touch this up with just some greens here and there. maybe run some blue with the green. And here, I'll do all this and then start pulling some of the color out of the, to reveal some of the background color. Let's see. I'm going into one area of the palette here to. It's already dried. Okay. Just thinking of that painter, Soutine. He was an expressionist painter in the beginning of the 20th century. And a couple of his paintings showed up in was in the Globe this morning in a collection, I guess, a part of a guy's collection, family collection that was stolen. Because they had a Cézanne painting and a couple Soutines. I guess the Cézanne painting is worth, it went on auction, I think, for $29 million. Yeah, it's kind of a strange case. I'm sure we'll be reading a lot more about it, because the guy that was involved in that originally, I don't even go into any lurid details, but he is now an artist, and who knows what's going to happen. It'll be another Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum thing. Anyway, I bet I'm winding down to the 1 minute mark. No, God, I got faked out again. Yep. Yeah, well. Anyway, let's see. Well, that'll be a case worth watching. So, especially when it involves so much money, so much valuable art. Paintings been missing since 1978. So anyway, all right. See, I was right. I said thought I was down to a minute. I can feel it. I sense it in my bones. Anyway, this is Bill St. George. Remember to keep painting. So I'll say that before I say, join me for another show. I'm not going to go through that harassment again. Anyway, it was good seeing you. Good, whatever. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you.